So, Coach, I looked over at you after I think they got 3 layups in a row to begin the game. Pretty wide open shots. I think you and I might have been able to hit some of them. I looked over at you and you didn't seem mad. You seemed really disappointed. What did you say during that huddle? Because that didn't look like your typical team to start the game.
Yeah, I mean, all I said was, not in a negative way. Just today at our shoot around was the first time I saw like a little, okay, we're getting ready for a really hard game. I just didn't see, what I've been seeing, and it was no big deal. But then when we started out that way, I just called the timeout just to say, I saw it at the shoot around today, and it's our home court. It's our playing well. What are we gonna do about it? Are you just gonna keep allowing this to go on, and really just sort of put it into their hands because they're the ones playing. And I just shared that with them, and like I told them at the end of the game, I thought they did a really good job of responding. They did a really good job of sort of coming together. I thought Corbin gave us a big lift right at that juncture. Which was important. And then from there, everybody just sort of kicked in, and we started to really play well, and we played really well for the last 37 minutes.
How'd you like the way Corbin played tonight? Because it seemed like all night they were trying to hunt switches on him. They were trying to put smaller guys on him. He kept the foul trouble back today. I mean, he did a lot of things that I think the past 2 games or so he kind of was struggling with. What did you see from him that you really liked tonight?
Well, like I said, I've watched film with him, and I just talked to him about learning from his experiences, learning from the games he's played, and being the aggressor. Don't be the prior game's a little bit of a reactor. You got to be the aggressor. There's nothing but a fight going on. It's a fist fight. And, if you're in a fist fight and you're not ready, we all know what happened. That's so I thought he was much better tonight at being the aggressor. I thought he was better in practice yesterday. Just sort of being the aggressor. And that doesn't mean driving. It doesn't mean trying to score. It just means having the physicality of what the game presents and what the game is every possession, and it's possession after possession, and being able to handle that and play that way. And he was better, and because of that, ball seems to find a way to go in when you play that way. When you don't, ball doesn't seem to find a way to go in. And I think across the board, we played that way, the last 37 minutes of the game, and we shared the ball. We took care of the ball found the right guys, the ball went in the basket.
You guys can't come in on a stretch of, either 2 or 3 games a week predominantly. Now it's finals and holiday break are going to limit you, I believe, to 2 before conference season starts in the new year. I mean, how do you keep that momentum going despite not playing as many games coming up?
Well, that's what I just told him. I mean, and I said it to, Jim Arthur, our radio guy, before the game. It's, that's what's college basketball, especially here. It's a little unique in, our first third of the season. This is a big game for us to finish the first third of the season. Right? There's like 3 seasons. You get this one, now you get this like break for finals, and it takes you out of the rhythm that you've been in playing basketball and going to class and doing those things. Now you're just in the study mode and finals and no basketball for a little bit. And as you come out of that, you then got to get going again because we got a team coming in here on Sunday the 18th who beat the hell out of us last year. And you got to be ready for that, And as you do that, you have these 2 games, and then you break for Christmas, And that's sort of like the second season. You know what I mean? It's like its own little thing that's different and got different components. And then you come back and the gauntlet's on. And it's on for 2 straight months. It's called league play. And somewhere in there, I went through the schedule with the guys, what we're going to be doing to get their heads like, okay, you're studying the next 2 days, then we're going to start to do whatever we do individually. But I'm doing that so that these guys can get their heads around it, so they do well in school, so they know that's what this time's about. But then they still have their basketball head on, when we get going again. For that little time. Then they're going to break for Christmas, and then they go away, and they're gone for 4 years. And somehow you got to get it back then. So that's why it's like its own little season, and it'll be interesting to see how we come out of it. But I like the way our first 11 games and the consistency we've showed. That's what we need to carry over, like that consistency. And consistency comes from your individual and collective discipline, and our guys have shown a good job of that, and I'm just going to rely on that along with our preparation for our next game.
You brought it up. You guys kind of have another chance for revenge in this next game. You guys are 3-0 in those games so far this year. What do you feel like is the biggest difference between last year's team and this year's team, considering you lost those 4 last year? You've won them this year so far. I mean, what's the biggest difference?
Well, I mean, I think like I've said all year, this whole season's just about, are we going to show, that we're a year older, we're a year stronger, we're a year mentally older, we're a year more mature. If you do that over and over again, then sometimes you find yourself you're 2 years older, and now the trick is we're getting into this different time frame that's going to challenge you. Then you get into league play, that's going to challenge you. Are we going to be able to maintain it, sustain it, stay consistent? But we're definitely a year older and stronger. We're more experienced. Our guys are showing it. We have a little bit different team. The ball's moving around a little bit better. The ball's being shared. We're getting things that, with what we do, we're supposed to see us getting. Our players are seeing us getting them, and it's sort of spurring them on to sort of, let's get some more of these. This layup here, this wide open three, or share that ball. And as all that's going on, like I said, defensively at the beginning of the year, I knew we'd be better defensively in terms of our knowledge of what our defense is. It was going to come down to sort of the physical component of each guy individually. All right, how much older are you going to be at stopping your guy individually? We've been better at that. Now as you go through the year, it just gets harder and harder. But I really like what I've seen from our guys and our team through the first 11 games.
So, Jake, that start to this game was probably arguably your guys' worst start to a game, just layup, layup, layup. What was said in that first time out that kind of flipped things? Because after that, it was fine, but before that, they were taking advantage of some switches. They were doing some things. What was said in that huddle?
Yeah, it was just Coach Scott challenging us to be better. We knew as players that we needed to pick it up anyways. So I think after that timeout, we came out a lot better and just needed to prove what we could do.
It's been back-to-back games now where you guys have these really long stretches. Today, I think it was 1 of 11 that you held them to. I mean, when you get into those roles defensively, can it kind of build on itself as it goes?
Obviously we were focusing a lot on defense, and one of the main things is limiting threes. So I feel like if we can guard the ball at least somewhat decent and limit threes, then we have a good chance of being good defensively. So I think there's that, just building on top of each other, is just what's been helping us a lot.
What do you think is the biggest advantage you guys have had from playing at home this year? Because now you've won 6 in a row at home. You guys have been really good at home. What's the biggest thing you guys kind of have as an advantage when you're here?
One of the main things is obviously just practicing here every day. So, the court, the rims, the balls you use every day. But, the fans too. The fans were big tonight. Had a pretty big student section, so that was pretty cool. But, yeah, just everything at home just makes it a little bit better.
Regis, I kind of asked Jake, it's like when you guys get off to a slow start, you've kind of been that spark plug for the team this year, whether it be, an offensive rebound here, a steal there. How much do you put on your shoulders when it's like we started a little slow? How much do you kind of embrace that as kind of your role on this team?
I just got to do my role. I got to do my job. If the team's down, I got to pick it up. And it's all about teammates. I can't do it all by myself. And if someone makes a good play and we run a good play, get a good shot, and we miss, got to get that offensive rebound, keep it going.
How much do you feel like this kind of just momentum you guys have built, how much do you feel like that's needed going into a conference season? Because you guys are in one of the better conferences in the country. How much do you feel like you needed this momentum going in?
Momentum is a big thing. If you're like losing, or if you're winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one, it's never you don't have that like momentum, and especially in a good conference like the Mountain West, you gotta have momentum. Playing San Diego State, our first conference game, we need to be prepared and get that momentum. That's all we need to do.
Early on, they were getting a lot of switches and taking advantage of them down low, but you guys quickly adjusted, got rid of that. How encouraging is it that you're now starting to make these used to be game-to-game adjustments, but you're doing it minute to minute now?
It's very encouraging. We practice on defense, and in mid-game, if they change something and we didn't practice it, Coach Scott trusts us to run what he tells us to do, and today we executed.